get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Wow, we're delayed like a delay.
Damn good coffee and hot.
My goodness, that's delayed.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Yeah, baby.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Ha 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 ha. What the hell's that all about? Ha ha ha. Cover that up. Cover that up, I say. Just doing a little housekeeping here, that's all. But I don't know. I mean, walking around naked like that, not good. Not good. Ah! See, this is what happens. Oh, good morning, folks. It is Monday. What the hell? March 18th, 2024. Great to have you here, as always. Last week of winter, that makes me happy. But we are getting, depending on where you are, somewhere around the middle of the country, there's a divide. The eastern half is going to get like another week of winter or even 10 days of winter weather. And the western half is going to be almost like summer this week. I wish I was in the western half, to be honest with you. I'm in the eastern half. Listen, it's not like all that. What do we got? Like 40-something, 42 degrees. But you know what? I'd rather have it 82 degrees than 42 degrees any day. Let me look really quick. I'm lying, aren't I? No, it's 47. 41 right now. 41 right now. So I wasn't really lying by that much. Anyway, hope you had a great weekend. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all you Irish people out there. You might be a little hungover if you're Irish or if you were at St. Patrick's Day parade drinking green beer. You might be hungover from the green. I'm not crazy about putting color dye in food. I had a terrible weekend. I really, I've had some bad, gig-wise. Not like, I didn't get cancer. I didn't lose a leg. I did. I was going to make a joke about winter being on its last leg like Tony Walker, but I didn't. But I just did, didn't I? Anyway, so Friday night, well, I don't even want to. It's going to take me all week to get over this, and I'm going to be grumbling about it all week. But let's just talk about Friday. Saturday and Sunday will be for another nightmare weekend. Nightmare weekend with drama and bullshit and insanity. And Willie, I'll just say on Saturday, I was supposed to hook up with Willie, and then when I called him when I finally got like conscious enough to say, okay, I'll come in there, he did not have a hotel room. He was scrounging around trying to find a hotel room because he screwed up his booking. Supposed to move from the hostel he was in to a hotel room or a motel room or something. But it turns out he booked it in Manhattan, Kansas, not Manhattan. You would never see something listed as Manhattan in New York. They would just call it New York City. They don't call it Manhattan, even though it's in Manhattan, on the island of Manhattan. They would just say New York City and give you the address. If you see it Manhattan, chances are it's Manhattan, Kansas. So he basically booked a room in Manhattan, Kansas, and then couldn't find another room. Everything was booked. And I felt like somewhat concerned and responsible for this. Like, let's get him a room. And nobody I knew. Listen, I don't know too many people in that far in New York City area. Anyway, I thought you'd want to stay there. Plus, I had a house full of my wife's relatives were here all weekend, which led to some of this drama. But so I had 2 gigs on Friday afternoon, corporate stuff, healthcare facility stuff, and then an evening gig at Goccia d'Oro Tour in Lindenhurst, a dinner set. And we played the first set, and we're taking a little break. And Mikey said, "Okay, let's go back on." And I said, "Wait, I got to get a drink before I go back on. Well, let's go over to the bar." Mikey came with me. We were both going to get a drink. 2 older gentlemen at the bar. When I say older, I mean my age plus. That's older. I'm old. These guys were older. And they would, strike up, start telling Mikey how much they liked the band and they were enjoying it. And I think they were there to see the drummer who was subbing with us that night, Robin, from Pagman and Robin. Anyway, guy starts telling Mikey some jokes and stuff. And Mikey, you're a funny guy. You used to be a stand-up comedian. Oh, here we go. I'm starting to get a bad vibe here. Maybe I should just get my drink and get out of here. Can I get a drink? Hello? I got to. The guy starts telling Mikey this story about in the 70s. He was a stand-up comedian, supposedly. Supposedly, I say. At performing at Richard Dixon's White House. If you're not familiar with Richard Dixon's White House, and you're probably not from Long Island and not old, because it's been gone for a long time. But if you're a 70-year-old comedian has-been, you know it. Or you ever tried comedy on Long Island, you know of the place. If you're old enough. And this guy was definitely old enough. Richard Dixon's White House was the first real comedy club on Long Island in the early 70s to about 1977. This guy starts telling a story about performing there with everybody you've ever heard of: Jerry Seinfeld, Bob Nelson, Larry Miller, Larry David, I don't know, anybody, Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was never there. He starts telling the story about how a guy asked him to do a favor for this kid, young black guy, who needed a break in comedy. He was a funny little kid, did some impressions, and I gave him his first shot and then gave him some tips on how to improve his act. And that boy turned out to be Eddie Murphy. And Mikey was, "Oh, what a great story." Oh, man. And I'm sitting there like, "You motherfucker, I want to fucking choke the shit out of you." Because I have heard that story. Almost the exact same story, but the only difference in the story when you hear it is it's either at East Side Comedy Club or Richard Dixon's White House. But any comedian over 70 who was never successful ever in their life at anything, anybody who ever tried comedy and was not successful at it in the 1970s, tells that story. And it's not true. I know the truth behind Eddie Murphy's first couple of gigs there, and I believe it was at East Side Comedy, but not with the idiots who want to take credit for it. Mikey was eating it up, and I was just like, you know what, Mike, I've heard that story from every other comedian his age, or every other person called it. He's not even a comedian. I feel guilty calling him a comedian. He is a somebody who probably did a couple of open mics there for a hamburger, because I believe that's what the going rate of pay was at Richard Dixon's White House, was a hamburger. Anyway, he told that story, and Mikey's just eating it. "Oh, what a great guy. You got to get him on your show." No. And he says that to the guy with me standing right there. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll get you on. You got a card for the guy? No, I don't have a card for the guy. I don't even have cards. I don't even have a show. I quit doing the show. I don't know if you heard. I'm not doing the show anymore. Anyway, I can be a rude bastard sometimes. You know that. You know I could be a rude bastard sometimes. And I just wanted to say to this guy, why do you need to put yourself as a superstar in the story about getting Eddie Murphy his first, I don't know, exposure in show business? Why do so many comedians feel like they need to be the one to put themselves in a story that everybody's telling? Except the only difference is it's where it was, either Richard Dixon's White House or East Side Comedy Club, and who the star of the show was. And the star of the show is always me meaning the person telling the story. It annoys the fuck out of me. And I just wanted to say to the guy, you're a bullshit artist. I don't like you. Get away from me. But you can't do that at a gig. I'm at a gig now, and these guys are enjoying the music. And Mikey's trying to be polite to him. Mikey's being more than polite to him. He's kissing their ass. And I'm just like, I'm not having it. So that was my Friday gig. Then I went to leave after the gig's over, and I noticed the brake light is on in my car. Now I haven't had this car very long, and assumed originally my first assumption is, oh, I got the emergency brake on, but I can't find any emergency brake in this car. I haven't had the car that long, and I've never had an occasion to use the emergency brake, and I can't find it. There's no emergency brake in this car. Oh my God, I'm out of brake fluid now. I got to drive 75 miles to get home, and I'm nervous the whole way. And next morning, Saturday morning, get out, and I'm gonna go get some brake fluid. And then I noticed where the brake fluid switch is, brake release. Now it wasn't on full; it just tapped, but it reminded me very much of the Mitch Hedberg bit where he gets a rental car and he drove it for hours with the emergency brake on. And that doesn't say much. And his bit goes, it doesn't say much for me, but it says even less about the emergency brake. Because the emergency brake's on, you really should not be able to drive at all. That should be your first hint, is that the car's not moving when you hit the gas. Anyway, frustrating night, Friday night. We'll get to the rest of the week. And as I grumble along here, the rest of the weekend, as I grumble along this week, there's plenty of frustrating stuff. As I mentioned, the Willie stuff. I still don't know where he stayed Saturday night. But whatever. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to be here. I believe he's at Zinn's house, and I don't even know where Zinn's house is, but I know it's not in Manhattan. And I thought the whole idea of Willie coming to New York was to work comedy and music, and there's nowhere to work on Long Island. I mean, especially the part where Zinn lives in Suffolk County. It's Suffolk County. There's nothing here. So I don't know if he's going to get anything accomplished there. I would have, if I should have probably mentioned to him, you could just ride the trains, because if you ride the trains on the MTA up into Westchester and back, it's an hour and a half each way, and maybe you could see the poster you came here to see, and get an hour and a half sleep at a time. Just riding. He got a free MTA pass, which is why. That would be good. You could just sleep for an hour and a half at a time. Stay on the train as it turns around. Actually, you could probably stay asleep the whole night on the damn train. But I didn't. I wasn't thinking clearly. I was having my own issues, which I will get to at some point during this week. We got to have a full house today, even without Willie. Whether or not Willie gets here or not. Stephen, the sitcom Ortiz, will be part of the panel. Ron Kane will be part of the panel. And as always, G.D. Fenderson will be part of the panel. Good morning, fellas. Look at Ron Kane with that beautiful background. He's like, oh, he's Mr. Podcast now. Look at him. He's muted. Your mic is...
It's fancy, isn't it?
It is. Is that like a bear? What the hell you got behind you? What is that, a bear?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, Ron just disappeared. He's green screening. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. I wanted something that popped, something different.
I almost drank my coffee backwards. That's the kind of morning and weekend I've had. Whatever. How was your weekend, you guys? Did you do anything? Oh, he has to do his thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. Good morning, TV.com. The only place where we can get you to give us your money. TV.com.
You think we can get them to give us their money?
Well, this is the only place to do it.
Oh,
You know what I'm
if
saying?
I don't know. I think maybe on the streets of Manhattan, I think you might have even more luck with that. People just think you're homeless or something and just throw a couple of bucks at you.
Is there a reward if they find Willie and return them to us?
I don't know.
Wouldn't you know if you posted a reward?
I don't know. I don't know. You know. Oh, Willie's in the chat room there. He says he stayed up. I don't. That's all I see from him. Anyway. Yeah. So, anything St. Patrick's Day celebrations, you guys? Ron's got some green chair behind him. That one, he probably did that for the Irishness. No.
We went out Saturday night, and the bar was actually not busy at all for St. Patty's Day, which I couldn't believe, but it could have been some of the terrible Irish music that the people were playing.
Oh, I hate that. Listen, I get asked to do Irish gigs every year, and like, could you play any Irish music? I think 2 songs, 3 songs, maybe. Not a lot of, I guess there are bands who just know more Irish music than I know. I know McNamara's band, When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, Danny Boy. What was the other one? There's a Boston Burglars song or something. I can't think of it, but that's it. That's my entire Irish repertoire. So no, I can't do any Irish gigs. I could do an Irish jig, but I can't do an Irish gig.
I've done an Irish jigaboo once. The only Irish song I know is Proclaimers 500 Miles.
Oh, well, is that an Irish song or just 2 Irish guys? Because if you're going to go down that road, any U2 song is an Irish song, right?
That was where I was going to go next. I was going to ask you that. Well, see, I do know I've covered 2 or 3 U2 songs. I can't remember their names. Like one is like Streets with No Names or something.
Streets with No Name.
And then there's one.
Still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that one. And is there one called One?
One, yeah.
Okay, so I know that one. One called One.
Did I disappoint you? Leave a bad taste in your mouth. I like that line. Because I'm a pig. Anyway, Steven's here. Before we meet our first guest, good morning, Steven. Rolling back in. See what it's becoming a regular thing now. The panel is expanding.
It is. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
All right. How are you? Did you do anything for this glorious Irish weekend party?
I did. I had a show in Dayton, and then I spent 2 days drinking while my kids played in the pool.
Wow. How was it? How was your show Friday night?
The show Friday night was incredible. Packed house, lively audience. It was an open mic, but it was just a really good time, and I did a couple shows off of it, man. You can't ask for anything better. So
yeah, you can't ask for anything. Well, you can ask for a lot worse. Like it could be guys there telling you their Eddie Murphy story.
That's true. I heard what you were saying, and wow, you had fun.
Well, I don't know if other places in the U.S. have this thing where there's a famous comedian from the area, and everybody feels the need to tell the exact same story about how they are responsible for that person's career. And if I look it up, because this guy was talking 1976 at Richard Nixon's White House, Eddie Murphy, I believe, was 14 years old in 1976. I don't think that happened.
Now, I was the first one to introduce Eddie Murphy to his first trans escort.
Funny side about that, on that too as well. David Letterman's from Indiana, and I actually introduced him to prostitutes. So it was a cool thing as well. So
he would have been about 70 when you were 15 or something. I don't know.
Something along those lines. He had no hairline when I started watching him. So
all right. Well, our first guest is here, so I'm going to play a commercial, and then we're going to get to meet her in just 1 second. You guys know? Are you guys excited about March Madness, or are you mad? Or you madness? Is the madness taking over you, or you just can't wait to get your hands on a big orange ball and throw it? Or
Listen, I'm super
Bet
excited
money.
for Black History Month #2, also known as March Madness, and it's something I'm very excited for. Absolutely.
all right. Well, the reason I bring it up is because mybookie.com has this thing going on. MyBookie, they're experts at helping you pick the best winners here, but that you can also get $1,000, up to $1,000 sign up bonus when you sign up. They're our sponsor today. Check out.
The experts at MyBookie have created the ultimate NCAA March Madness betting guide to help you make the best bets throughout the tournament. Throughout this betting guide, the pros will go in depth on the best teams, players, and bets throughout the entire NCAA March Madness tournament. 2024 March Madness 85th edition of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Tournament tips off Tuesday, March 19th to Monday, April 8th, 2024. Go to mybookie.com/minddog and get up to $1,000 welcome bonus.
Go over there and bet some money. Bet money. That's all I'm saying.
That was a blatant carry on that video.
What?
That was a blatant carry. He carried. You don't put your hand under the ball and change direction. That's a carry, okay? That's a carry in every league except for where college and the pros and money is involved.
You call it a carry? Here in Long Island, we call that a walk or traveling.
The walk would be carry. This carry is when you change the direction of the ball like that. The walk is
when you go to the prom and she pukes blood all over everybody. That's what.
Did she puke blood? I don't think she puked blood. I think
No, it was just dropped on her. It was just
from a bucket.
Right, the bucket list.
Right. First guest is here, and so we're going to stop talking about the video, the blatant stock video carry of probably kids that never played basketball before. They were just told, yeah, act like you're playing basketball while I shoot.
So you get the black guy to pretend he did.
He wasn't even black. He was pretending to be black.
I was going to say, because you can't find a black kid who never actually played didn't play basketball. We all played basketball. It's like we all play bass. And we all swim. It's just one of those things that we just
all
do.
Swim? Swim?
Oh, you didn't swim.
You ain't never been to Copiague, Long Island, brother.
That's what we need you to think.
All right. It's
that's
time to
need you to think.
All right. Time to meet our first guest. Elaine Williams is a video coach, speaker coach. Wow, you mixed up speaker and video coach with speaker coach.
She also swims.
Best-selling author and comedian who's on a mission to help heal the world. One joke, one story, one laugh at a time. Let's get healed, folks. I could use some healing. Good morning. I am doing that. What's going on?
Good morning. Hi. How are you guys doing?
I'm trying to do this. There you go.
Okay. I was like,
yeah.
Am I already here?
It was getting stuck and taking it completely out in a new window. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, you guys are fun. I was trying to think of the comedian that I helped, and I actually did help a comedian, Eric Andre.
I got to look that up.
We started out together, and
big fan of Eric Andre.
I introduced him to my manager, and he got like a Verizon commercial, and he's kicking ass in LA. So
I know the
he doesn't
face.
even remember me, but I helped him a little bit.
Where geographically are you from?
Geographically, I'm from Texas, and I'm actually in Dallas right now. I'm in New Jersey, outside of Manhattan, like 20 minutes outside. I'm in Bloomfield, but I'm currently in Texas helping my aging, crazy ass parents. So
where would you go if you needed to get an abortion?
Where would I go? I know. I would go back to the East Coast.
Yeah, Jersey. I think it's still safe. Or I don't.
Believe me, I'm. That's past for me, but I'm worried about my niece. So yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy being here, but I'm trying to show up for my family.
But there's a lot of opportunity in comedy down there. No, Texas is kind of one of the states to go to now.
Yeah. I'm friends with these two ladies who've had a comedy club for 30 years. One of them unfortunately just passed. Sorry, I don't know what the hell is happening with my Zoom. Jesus.
That's an Apple thing. Mine does it all the time when I'm on calls, and it freaks me out every time.
Sometimes I get the thumbs. Oh, now I got fireworks.
What? I I got an Apple. I don't get it. Where is that setting? I don't know. I don't
Are
know.
you on an
Texas. It's
iPad
only
or
in
an?
Texas.
Are you on an iPad?
Me?
Yes.
No, I'm on a MacBook Pro.
Oh,
Wow.
I have no clue.
Interesting. Now, what triggered that? Did you push a button, or did it just
Well,
trigger off a word you said?
I think sometimes it's like from a gesture. Like sometimes this makes hearts come up.
See, now where I come
But it's
from,
very arbitrary, right, Steven? It's like
It
Now-
never goes when you want it to. It's strictly by accident almost
yeah, it
every
only
time.
does it when you're like trying to make a serious point. And
For the
then
people
last-
on the radio side who have no idea what we're
balloons.
talking about, Elaine just had some balloons fly by and then a star cluster behind her automatically in her video feed here.
Or
You know, this
either that or everybody's tripping on acid and you forgot.
now,
That's
see,
a
I
good
don't know
point.
what that means in Texas, but in Baltimore, when a woman does that, it means your thing must be this big to ride this ride.
Wow.
Yeah.
you know the balloons popped up when my grandmother called me and told me my uncle died, and I was like, oh no, and then just balloons went off, and she hung up on me. So
Is she still your grandmother?
we haven't talked since, so I don't know.
She's still your grandmother.
You guys are funny.
Yeah. Talk to me about what exactly you do now. Stand-up comedy, is that your main thing, or is this video coach and speaker coach, which I'm kind of
Yeah, so I tour. I was touring for a while as featuring, which I loved. It was a blast, but I was not making. I was like breaking even as a comedian. So I was like in my 40s, and I thought, okay, Lane, you love comedy, but you're gonna be homeless if you don't get your shit together. So I've been focusing on I call it Captivate the Crowd as my company, and I help mostly middle-aged ladies who are having like their next chapter. A lot of them are doing coaching and healing and therapy, and so I help them get over their fear of being on camera.
wow.
And I'm also helped them with their signature talks. So that's been my main focus, but I still love comedy. I'm working on a one-woman show. I just went up last week. So I'm not touring because it just takes so much time and it's hard to manage. But I do a little bit. So I'm still playing with comedy because I love it. It's just it's so
I
hard and so
understand.
fun.
I have a question for Elaine real quick though, just because we were talking about touring.
Sure.
When you were touring, which Manhattan was your favorite Manhattan to get booked in? Some people like prefer Manhattan.
There's
New York.
nothing in Manhattan,
like
Kansas.
Manhattan,
I stayed there.
Kansas.
I stayed at a Super 8 in Manhattan, Kansas, and it was just like nothing but Motel 6s and Super 8s. There's no real businesses there. It's not a Manhattan.
Yeah,
Matt, this question was for Elaine, and you go hijack it.
Well,
So,
you're asking a question about something. It's like, where would you rather play, New York City or the desert?
Right.
Which desert?
Any desert, the Sahara.
How about Vegas? That's a big ass desert.
That's a big ass
I
desert.
would say Vegas for me because it's probably the most accessible. I don't do well in deep sand and steps.
That's
so.
good.
And is there really a Manhattan, Kansas?
Yeah, there is Manhattan, Kansas, and it's exactly as I meant. There's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. But motels. It's on a interstate. It's basically if you're going from Missouri to Colorado, you go through Manhattan, Kansas. But it's not like a real city. There's nothing Manhattan-y about it.
Right. Okay.
I wonder how
I'd
many
say-
people show up there every year thinking that's Manhattan, New York. Then
Oh God, that would be rough. No,
Well, how many people blow money booking hotels like Willie did when he just looked it up on Priceline? I'm looking for a hotel in Manhattan, and they took his money, and then it was later that he found out, wait, I don't have a room in Manhattan. Where's the address? Oh, Kansas.
Oh, that's a bad day. That's a really bad day.
Right. And can you get your money back getting your money back from them is not as easy as giving it to them.
I'm sure. Yeah. No, I've played some funky little towns. There's a town in Washington State called Kennewick. And the Pacific Northwest is gorgeous towards the coastline, but once you go over the mountains, you feel like you're on Mars. Like it's a weird anyway. But they had a comedy club and they loved us, so we would go regularly.
Right.
It was a weird gig.
Now, when you're talking about features, I think there's a thing that features should get together and kind of unionize featuring because the headliners always get paid nice money. I think the openers and people who are just getting started deserve to get taken advantage of because I think that builds character.
Well, it's part of the game. You got to
Paying
pay
the
your
dues,
dues,
right?
right?
Exactly.
But featuring, when you're featuring, you're doing, a significant time. You are an important part of the show.
Yeah.
You should get paid more than $150. You're talking about possibly going bankrupt or being homeless. There's got to be, I don't know if we can guilt features into saying, listen, you're getting paid $8,000 for the night. You could give up a couple $100 to the feature.
Right. That sounds good to me.
But how do you even get started with something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why I've always had a million side hustles because I knew I met comedians who were really big in the 80s and none of them had saved a dime, and they thought the ride was going to last. And I said, okay, I love comedy, but I don't want to be one of those desperate people begging people for $20 to make it through the week. I just was always like, okay, I'm going to do comedy, but I was always doing like 4 other jobs or hustles.
Yeah, everybody in showbiz, every discipline in show business has that same thing. I think I talked last week about going to see Molly Hatchet. It wasn't intentional, believe me. I would never go see Molly Hatchet intentionally. But there was a time in the 70s or 80s when they were fairly big. They were selling records and playing stadiums.
Right.
I saw them in a bar, and the guitar player came over. He asked me for a cigarette, which I don't smoke, but he got a cigarette from a friend of mine. And then he needed a light, and then, can you buy me a drink? I was like, this is where this is where how far this guy's fallen, from playing stadiums, riding in limos, to begging for cigarettes and drinks at the bar.
I've seen it happen over and over. I used to work at this fancy steakhouse in New York, and I would wait on all the NFL guys, and I used to be like, you don't have to buy everybody a house. Save your money, It may not last.
Yeah. Speaking of NFL guys, last night I'm pandering now because trying to expand our audience. So I did a reel on Taylor Swift and her evolution in the music industry, from country girl next door to pop diva and all this stuff.
I saw that. You should get an award for that one. Or did AI do it for you?
Well, AI helped. AI helped very, very much in it, but basically I did all the prompts and then added some imagery and all that stuff. But it got a lot of traction. It's sort of, I don't know how you define viral, but a lot of hate out there, a lot of love and a lot of hate. You either see the person now that either everybody reacts to with love or with hate. Just the football stuff got me on that stuff.
I'm gonna tell you now. Honestly, I watched it, and by the time it was over with, I almost clicked on the site to look up Taylor Swift because I was like, well, maybe there's something to this. Honestly, I actually had that feeling like maybe there's something to this Taylor Swift person.
Yeah, well,
there is. We're waiting for her to break up with Travis Kelce for the next album.
Right.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a shot because apparently she doesn't date. She doesn't go black because she doesn't want to not go back.
Correct. Unlike the U.S.
You got more than that going against you. You're like 90 years old, and she only goes for guys in their 30s or 20s.
Yeah. But I will never ask her for a dime for money.
That's true. Oh yeah, I think the fact that you're a comedian and she's a billionaire might have something to do with that. Elaine, in your bio it says she has overcome 3 addictions. Is that part of comedy?
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, they always say, comedians have the worst childhoods, right? Didn't Robert Downey Jr. say that? Thank you for my horrible childhood or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I grew up in a very dysfunctional family and was having crazy shit happen. And I was bulimic with periods of anorexia. And then I found drugs and alcohol and I was off to the races.
So it wasn't a byproduct of being a comedian, because that was really the part of the question, is because I see the comedian life, especially when you're touring, a lot of that time, there's so much downtime and so much loneliness and hotel time. So, for musicians, I know it's not as long because we play longer. It's an argument I had with Willie on Saturday morning. But there's still too much downtime, too much free time, and you can get yourself in a whole lot of trouble. But your addictions didn't come from that.
No, they came from there was just a lot of trauma growing up, and then I I was always working professionally in Texas, but I wanted to go to New York. And so when I moved to New York in 2000, I sort of accidentally got sober at the same time, which is crazy because they're like, "Don't change anything," and I was like, "Fuck you!" I had to keep changing and moving and temping and then I was sober for a couple of years, and people kept saying, "You're really funny. You're really funny," and I was like, "What do you mean?" Because I was angry all the time, and when New Yorkers tell you you're too intense, it's not a good look, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, so but I was like, I never thought of myself as a comedian because I was like doing musical theater and singing and dancing and voiceover and all that stuff. But when I did my showcase and I saw everybody bent over howling when I got to the dysfunctional family stuff, I was like, oh, I'm supposed to help people. And so my life made sense on a whole new level. But yeah, no,
Right.
touring is weird. Like I was always working side hustles and going to AA meetings and going to work out. So I always felt like touring, I thought I was going to have more downtime, but I was always busy because, especially if you're doing one nighters, you're like driving all day. You get to the hotel and take a shower or whatever. Then you got to get ready for the show. Then you do the show. Then you schmooze after whatever. And then, you got to get up and do that all over again. It's grueling. I mean,
Yeah.
I love doing it, but it's
So how do you get booked at an AA meeting? Is there do you need an agent to do that?
you can usually just walk in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's funny is when you're on the road, like in Denver, they come around and they pour coffee for you. They refill your cup, and everybody brings their dogs. And so I was like, this is cool. They don't do this in New York. So
That's
yeah.
weird. But when you do go to AA, they tell you places, people, places, and things.
Right.
You have to change all of those. But if you're a comedian and you're doing clubs and stuff, I find the majority of people in show business, whether it's music, comedy, acting, the majority of them are on something most of the time. So is that a challenge, like being in the green room with a bunch of guys snorting or smoking or drinking and all that, and you're trying to
it's funny because there's some days where I'm like, oh, that looks so good, or cocaine in the morning, oh, I missed that, like
yeah.
But
Yeah.
when I was dating a headliner, and he smoked a lot of pot. Like when we first started hanging out, he was like, I smoke occasionally. And I was like, oh, okay, that was never my thing, whatever. And then once we went away together, I was like, oh, occasionally means occasionally at 8 p.m., occasionally at 8:30 p.m., occasionally at night,
Yeah.
So after a couple of years, it's one thing to work around it. It's a whole nother thing to have it in your hotel room.
Right.
So like I can work around it because I'm like in work mode, but I don't like to be around it when I'm like chillaxing,
Yeah, I get it. It's an interesting thing, but it's got to be a struggle when it's always there. There's always somebody on.
Yeah, there's always somebody on something. This is the world we live in now.
So you said you did cocaine?
Oh yeah, I did cocaine, crystal meth, ecstasy.
Ron, did you know she slept with your brother?
Do I have to make an amends? Oh God, I got to make another amends. Shit.
Yeah. No, Ron has a numbing effect on everybody.
It's true. I haven't been able to feel my legs ever since I got here. So.
Oh my God. Yeah. No. So in Dallas, now you're just taking care of your family, or are you performing at all? Because I would think the temptation to get to Austin, or have you been? I'm sure you've been there,
Oh
right?
yeah. Well, I was in Austin forever. So yeah, I'm hoping to go in the next couple of weeks. I'm still doing stuff. Like I'm staying at my sister's house, and then I go help. I do the parent stuff on the weekends. So she just was like begging me to come help because she was burnt.
Right.
So yeah, I'm jonesing to get on stage again. I did a set the other night and it was so fun.
Where at?
The Back Door Comedy Club. It's run by the two ladies I was talking about. One of them has been in comedy. They both have been in comedy, but one just passed. But Linda Stoger, she is comedy in Dallas. Like, she's a legend. So
are you familiar with a place called the Comedy Zoo in Fort Worth?
No, I've played Hyenas, but I have not done the Comedy Zoo.
Maybe, I don't know. There was a issue a couple of weeks ago with the comedian I know who they don't have a green room there. Now, she flew from L.A. to Fort Worth to do a show there, but they don't have a green room. So before a show, she went for a walk, and when she came back, they wouldn't let her in. No, you're bumped.
What?
Yeah, right. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard about in 50 years of show business.
Wow.
Like,
are you fucking kidding me?
You book somebody
all that way?
Yeah.
That would
have burnt the building down.
Apparently they have a very bad reputation. A lot of comedians who heard about it on Twitter were like, "Oh yeah, I know that place. The only place I'm banned from. Can't go back there or whatever."
Yeah, it's such a drag. I mean, when you work with a great club, it's so awesome. And every once in a while, there's just a club that's just run by assholes. Like, they're just angry, or they don't like women, or it's such a weird. It's just a weird vibe sometimes.
So you have a book out called The Power of Community?
Yes, we just launched it last week. Me and 9 other ladies.
Now, where do I have? Do I have what I have? A short link for you. Oh no, is this to Amazon? The link that's in the description? No,
probably. Yeah.
What the book is? It like a self-help book?
Yeah, I know you guys are gonna make fun of it. Probably.
I am.
No, I was on this business cruise with all these ladies, and I didn't want to go because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be on this boat for 10 days with a bunch of women I don't know. I was like, what was I thinking?
Sign me up for that. Sign me up for that today.
Yeah, okay, we'll bring you next time. Anyway, luckily they were really cool. We had a great time, and several of us were like, we should do a book about when women come together and support each other, blah, blah, blah. So that was the inspiration, and everybody has a different story. So my story is about humor and how comedy really saved my life because I was too intense and really angry, and comedy helped me like lighten the heck up. And that's why I love teaching it and talking about it. And then some other lady, like one lady talked about her bariatric surgery. One lady talked about her husband committing suicide, but all the lessons she got from it. Well, like there's everyone's story is supposed to be inspiring. I haven't read everybody's chapter yet. I got to do that.
Now, the woman who got her husband to commit suicide. Do people want to know how she accomplished that?
I'll let you know.
I think my wife would like some advice on that. Like, how'd you get him to do it? No, but building community now, because it seemed like it would be hard to start building a community if you've come from an angry place. That whole idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you go? What do you think are first steps from that? Because I'm not a people person. Fortunately, I have a partner who is very much a people person. But I think without him, I would have never had any success in show business at all. I'd be homeless and starving because nobody likes me. I'm not a nice person.
And that can actually work well for you in comedy. No. I was afraid to go on the cruise, but once I got on, we really gelled and it was really cool. And all the women were really amazing. Like one lady worked for Spielberg. One lady, like it was, just sometimes you meet these women and they're like, oh yeah, I did that. Oh, I did that. So, we all connected, but yeah, it's hard if you're not feeling the vibe. I mean, being in Dallas is weird for me. I haven't lived here in 30 years. So I feel like I'm starting over in some ways. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Now I know Frank Spielberg.
Frank.
Yeah, Frank Spielberg. He and I went. Matter of fact, we hung out together at UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Thank you very much. Almost graduated from there. So I'm just surprised that someone else knew Frank Spielberg.
It's amazing.
I actually bought him his first camera. So
Frank, okay. That's
Well,
it.
GD, I'm surprised you didn't pick up on what else she said, that being unliked could actually work for you in comedy. Uh, you should
I
find.
picked up on that, but I was trying to give Ron a chance to get in there on that one.
Ron is
But
very quiet this morning. He must be hungover from all the green beer he was drinking this weekend.
or he's very if he's afraid he's afraid if he opens his mouth he's going to puke up the green beer.
Oh God.
Oh, that sounds not fun.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm just waiting for GD to stop the show every 5 minutes.
That's a good one. Yes. Anyway, now you're taking care of the parents. Can you possibly and that's your weekend gig, taking care of the parents? Can you possibly do anything like in the business when your weekends are tied up with
Yeah,
personal
I mean,
stuff?
what's cool is there's like a team of us. Like my sister goes over to check on my mom, and my niece and nephew do too. So like I left, I was gone for 3 weeks. I went to a Podfest convention, and I actually did comedy there. That was a lot of fun. And then I went to San Francisco and then LA. So I was gone for 3 weeks. So, it's like they just want me here more often. I'm jonesing to go back to Manhattan too, because I haven't been there in a couple of months. So
Uh,
I've got flexibility.
what was this podcast convention like?
I was
I get
really
offers to go to them all the time.
Oh my God, you guys, it was really fun. It's called Podfest, and it was like their 10th year, and it wasn't cheesy commercial. You know how like Podfest movement is super, it's like iHeartRadio, it's all the big wigs, and it's very sort of commercialized. Well, Podfest it was just like a lot of people wanting to help people. And I met some amazing people. I met this guy, Bob Wheeler, who's one of the founders of the Comedy Store in LA. He was so cool. We did like 4 interviews. I just met some amazing people, and 2 of my clients were there. So I was like pimping them out. And one of my clients was the keynote speaker. So it was a really cool vibe. And I highly recommend going. I'm going to be speaking on a stage next year with them. But it was just, and there were like 2,000 people. It was huge, but it was still like great to connect. So
Now, let me go here if I can in a very we'll creep everybody out with
okay.
this. Now, if me being me, when somebody's lying to me, or I feel like somebody's telling me a story that may be an exaggeration, I wonder what their motivation was. If I were you, and a guy was telling me something, I think, well, he's hitting on me in some way.
Right.
This guy who said he founded the Comedy Store, did you think, well, in the moment he was telling you that, did you think this guy's just hitting on me, he's lying? And then did you do a follow-up and say is he real, and go on the internet and research him?
Well, I definitely, I mean, when I was new in New York, I got that so much. Oh, I can help you with your career.
Yeah.
I mean, one of Giuliani's top guys it was just, being new in New York is hilarious because you get that all the time. But this guy is gay. So I actually met his boyfriend first, and he was like, "What do you do?" Blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, "Oh my God, you have to meet my partner." So that,
Yeah.
that's why I responded, I think, because he wasn't trying to sleep with me.
Yeah, but I get bullshitted so much. I mean, I started the show talking about people who just bullshit about the same bullshit all the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
In the business of show, people are creative, and creativity is the essence of lying. Really, I mean,
I never thought about it like that, but it's so true.
yeah, Leo Kottke, who was a folk singer, talks about that. He said the first time he heard his daughter lie to him, he said he knew he had an artist on his hands. Yeah. So
so true.
Yeah, anytime somebody tells me a story, anytime, this is why I'm not a people person, because I am so skeptical of anybody who has a story about their past accomplishments and all this stuff. And I'm like, I take everything as like, so if somebody's telling me, yeah, I helped fund. Well, I know that was Mitzi and Paulie Shore. Now, what was Mitzi's husband's name? I forget. Sammy Shore. Mitzi and Sammy Shore. But so that guy, I would have to go back and do research on him and say, You probably get a lot of that though. You know, bullshit
Oh
artists
yeah.
all over the place.
Oh my God. Or like, I just remember feeling so desperate as an actress and like running around Manhattan, auditioning, running to class, just, and you get calls like, can you be here in an hour? Like, so it's very hectic. And then, sometimes I would feel so desperate, and sometimes I would meet people and I'd be like, oh, it would give me hope, and looking
Yeah.
back, there was so much bullshit. Oh
Right.
my God. So much.
Like we have one on the panel here today. GD Fenderson. First of all, he talks about his time being in the Ink Spots. Ink Spots were big when Bing Crosby was around. Then he talks about having a wife. Last week he was talking about some imaginary aunt or something. He just, I mean, he fabricates these stories about his past all the time. So we're used to it here. He's
Ink
shaking.
spots? Is that when like you interpreted what you saw, like Freud, like ink spots, like that?
And that's when I played with the Rorschachs. That's a totally different band I played with. Now, I played with the Rorschachs after the Ink Spots. The Ink Spots, we had like If I Didn't Care, that was like a big hit back in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
That's how old you are.
Yeah. No, the Ink Spots.
That's how old Matt needs me to be, so I can get my paycheck. That's it.
Yeah. By the way, the paychecks are going to be delayed this week. It's a whole other story.
It's a holiday. I know it's a holiday weekend.
Yeah, because of the big St. Patrick's Day expenses we had to do. Now,
a lot of the ink that we used for the green money we put into the beer in the river.
Right. Writing the book. I interview a lot of authors, and they get into it for writing a book. They enjoy writing the book. They want to be authors. They want to be writers. And then after they're done writing the book, they find out that you have to learn the publishing business. And
oh my God.
I was just going to say, is this a real frustrating learning curve for somebody like you?
And well, and this is my fourth book. So I've self-published, and once you have a book, you're really never done marketing it, but you get sick of it. And, like my topics have changed, blah, blah, blah. But being in a group book, this was a huge trip because the lady who compiled it, she got to be listed as the main author, and we didn't. And so that was really a bummer for me. And then she added all this other stuff and made her picture way bigger. So it was a big learning. Like we hit #1, which I was happy about, but I was not happy with the way a lot of things went down.
Oh, yeah.
So that's probably one reason I can't seem to read anybody else's chapter.
Is she tuning in this morning?
And this book is about women supporting each other. And
yeah. Yeah.
Don't even tell me about the book you did with women backstabbing each other.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the follow-up book is The Power of Backstabbing.
Yeah.
Or the subtitle is You Stab My Back and I'll Stab Yours.
Or it's going to be Ask More Questions next time, Elaine, because I just didn't know she was going to do that, and it just felt really kind of manipulative. So
I think in general, people in the creative arts are not necessarily the best of business people. I think the people who are really good are exceptional, or the exception, not the rule, where they have this ability to compartmentalize stuff. This is business and this is art, and be able to manage both. It sounds like you're probably 90% artist and 10% business, right?
Well, I've worked on this a lot. Like I was so excited when I started getting paid as a comedian. I would lose the cash. Like I think there was a part of me that felt like I didn't deserve it. And I would find it again, but instead of like taking it and putting it right in my wallet, I would put it in like my comedy notebook. I mean, I just did stupid things like that. This is 15 years ago. And now I coach a lot of creatives. But yeah, there's a huge disconnect between like owning your value and wanting to charge, and, making sure sometimes coaches will like coach forever. And they're like, well, they haven't paid me yet. And I'm like, stop.
Right.
Stop doing your work for free. You paid money to get certified. You've paid money to do all this other stuff. So yeah, but it's challenging.
The big thing now is because you said you went to this podcasting convention. Do you do a podcast yourself?
I did for a couple of years. It was called Still Human, and it was with another coach, and we were just crack up. Like, she had hired me to help her with her stories, and every time we got on Zoom, we would just crack up. So I said, I think this is supposed to be a podcast, but we didn't position it well, and we didn't keep growing. And after 2 years, I was like, look, I got a lot of hobbies. I don't need one more hobby. So I know I'm going to start my own podcast again. I just wanted to kind of get the book launched, and I try not to do too many things all at once, because that's one of my bad habits.
It is kind of like comedy in that it ends up being a hobby for a lot of people,
Right.
and also it just trying to make it pay. Everybody, there are so many people who can't figure out any way to make it pay, and you see that all the time. And people get into it with the expectation that they're going to make it pay, and be like, yeah, I don't know, Rogan or one of the top people. It's just it's so few and far between, and so many people doing it. It's almost impossible to do it. Yesterday, I saw somebody on Facebook said, "I'm willing to be a guest on your podcast for free." I was like, really? Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're
Who
like,
are you
"Dude."
again?
What a gift.
Yeah.
Right.
You mean I don't have to pay you to be on my dinky little podcast? But it just, I'm saying that just to point out how the expectations or the ideas about what this really is and how it works.
Well,
Just
yeah, and it's kind of like comedy, right? Like, I remember going to the open mics, and people were trying to emulate Chris Rock, and they would like strut around, but they had no material. And I
right.
think, and you would see them think, oh, this is way harder than I thought it was going to be, right? And I think
Right.
podcasting is a lot of fun, but people don't realize it's a long haul, and then you have all the people who jump on the train. I can help you monetize. I can help you monetize. And it's like,
Yeah.
let me just charge you $5,000. I'll help you monetize. Yeah, we're helping you monetize you. So
Right.
yeah, there's a lot.
Right.
lot of that.
What are you saying, Steve?
Oh, there's a lot of that. From the few podcasts I've had to even doing comedy now, you get 2 or 3 messages a day. Hey, let me get you followers. Let me get you viewers.
Oh, right.
It's just like, go away. Leave me alone.
The foul mouth teacher said you can't just yell women be shopping over and over to get booked.
No, that's no. Sometimes you have to yell women be shoplifting. It's
yeah.
But there's also that other side of the coin too, where people are just like horrific at comedy and podcasting or whatever, but then they'll go print up shirts and stickers and everything, and they've been doing comedy for like a month.
A minute. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta love the entrepreneurial spirit, but it's like you gotta have some material first.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's this perception that every comedian needs to have a podcast. And I think, especially for people who are storytellers, you're burning material when you do it. What are your thoughts on just the overexposure? Because they used to, a lot of acts in show business would purposely stay out of the limelight.
Yep.
Not to overexpose themselves and be just like, we're tired of seeing you. Why should I pay to see you? I've seen you 15 times this week on the little computer
Yeah,
screen.
no, that's a really good point. I think it depends on the comic, but Jay Leno, I think he's really particular about his act or when he tours, because he wants it to be different than what he does or whatever. But like Craig Shoemaker is a friend of mine. He's a sober comic, and he's been in the business forever, and he's doing a podcast, but he's interviewing people and he's having a lot of conversations, and he infuses humor, but it's also conversations about like spirituality and healing and life. And he supposedly has famous people on his podcast, which I haven't known anybody, but I need to go Google them. But I think it depends on the format. But yeah, I mean, comedy is hard, right? It took me forever to get an hour of material. And so the thought of, doing a show, like I had a friend that worked on the W. Kamau Bell show, Totally Biased, and they went from one night a week. They were kicking ass. They had a great show. It was building momentum. Things were going great. And then FX wanted them to go to 4 nights, and they did not get more staff, and they like bid it. And they put them up, it's like, that is so much work to do one show a week. And then to add 3 more, it was just too much, and they got canceled.
Yeah, people don't take in all that. Plus, the idea of just people just hearing your name so much that they get sick of you. It's like, how can I miss
like
you if you never
married.
go away? Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
Exactly.
Well, I always feel like people still don't know who I am, but they might get irritated if they see it too much. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I think it just depends. But
Seems like a lot of people, and I'll let you go after this like next little segue here into it seemed like a lot of people in show business are, because you mentioned spirituality and self-help and all these kind of, seems like a lot of people in the arts are either obsessed with mental health, spirituality, and all this kind of stuff, trying to figure out who we are. And it just seems like everybody's got that as a concern. And so everybody I talk to, yeah, mental health awareness is a big thing. Like, we're aware. And I think everybody's aware that mental health is an issue. But nobody really knows how to address it or how to improve it. That's the problem. We're just talking in circles about how crazy we all are.
Well, I agree, and I think I have a lot of friends who are therapists, and somebody was, because how like all the incidents on the airplanes, like that's just, it's 10x itself, right? And like every time I travel, and those poor TSA people, it says harassment or injuring or touching an officer is $13,000 fine. And every time I see that, I'm like, I'm so sorry you're having to deal with this. And they're like, you cannot believe. I said, I worked in the restaurant business. But I think COVID, being isolated, really exacerbated a lot of people's stuff. I think the divorce rate went up. But also, I think social media, as much as I love it and I teach it, I think it has really screwed our teenagers. And I think that we are going to have no idea the repercussions are coming still. So I think it's a combo of things. And also, our food in America is so full of crap. Oh my God. It's just the chemicals. And I just think we've got hormones in the water. I think we're on a, road. I think we're going to blow ourselves up like Rome eventually. I mean, I hope not, but
I think I hate to be a downer, but I am totally on the doomsday side of this thing. I'm looking at the end of American civilization is coming pretty quickly. The American Empire, they'll call it 1,000 years from now. That's what they'll call it.
We haven't been a superpower for years, and anybody who thinks that we still are, it's like, if you look at the stats, oh my God, it's a disaster. Yeah.
We're a fat kid with a gun now. We're not a superhero. We're not. Yeah. And
there's no superheroes. Yeah. We're fat kids with guns, and we don't even want to learn how to use them. And we're all, and we're like king babies, like, don't take away my stuff. And I'm right, and it's just, okay, you guys just keep shooting each other. Yeah.
So are we gun shaming now? I don't mind the fat kid thing.
Yeah, we're gun shaming.
But we're gun shaming?
We're gun shaming. And I live in freaking Texas.
Then.
I am so over it. Have you guys seen the Jim Jeffries bit on guns?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I love Jim Jeffries.
Me too. He's so dark and twisted, and even though he's misogynistic, I freaking love him. I love him. Even though he hates me, he hates women.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's funny. Last night I posted something on all the social medias. It was just like, because Vladimir Putin won re-election, running against.
God.
But he's running. Here's the thing. He got 87% of the vote running against nobody. And it's like, and they were actually, they had film of guys in the military going in, opening up the voting booths, pointing a gun at somebody, and still you got 87% of the vote. And Carl, who was on Twitter, said he must have had a really good campaign to get 80% of the vote. I said his campaign slogan was "Vote for me or I'll kill you." And then I created a meme with Vladimir Putin holding up a sign that said, "Vote for me or I'll kill you." I posted it on all the social media. Instagram took it down, saying that I was threatening violence. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh my
You think
God.
I'm
Ridiculous.
campaigning for Vladimir Putin, and that's the way I'm doing it? Is that you
Wait a
thought
minute,
that?"
do they actually think that Putin isn't killing people? Is that what it is? I
Well,
don't.
Well,
they thought that I was threatening people
Well, I
with
think,
that.
yeah, I think social media, they have a rule about kill, but it pisses me off that they'll let like terrorists have groups on Facebook.
Right.
But I've had friends get shut down because I had a friend who was gay and she was trying to coach women who are afraid to come out of the closet. And so she had this whole like awesome coaching program and she got banned on Facebook because they thought she was being hate speech. And she was like, no, I'm trying to help. Like,
Right, yeah. Well, the other part of that is Facebook is the same company as Instagram.
yeah.
They didn't take it down. Instagram took it down. So the inconsistency there. My wife said they got to do away with the bots that are doing this and have humans do it. But you can't do that for 6 billion people on Facebook.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 billion people with 20 billion accounts.
Right, yeah, yeah, right. That's the other part of it.
Right. And then we
Any-
got TikTok. Like we might lose TikTok, I've heard.
So
It's
it's so
not,
scary to think.
we're not gonna lose TikTok. They're just trying to force them to selling it to some MAGA people.
Oh,
Right.
great. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Manuchkin.
Yeah, Mnuchin and men.
Right.
They want that algorithm. They don't want TikTok. They want that algorithm.
That algorithm
that
picks
it?
on me, and I'm not a
You
fan.
just love saying algorithm.
It's
does,
true.
he does.
You got to see through the lies. This is all. It's just like it's.
I mean, it's all about
racketeering.
money. But
It's in the
supposedly
algorithm, man.
Supposedly there's 7 billion users on TikTok, which is wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know Ron and I were having dinner the other night, and Ron worked the word algorithm into like every other sentence, even when he was ordering his food.
Right.
He was ordering.
How do you like your
dinner,
steak? I like it algorithmically rare.
Yes, that's exactly That's
Let me let
exactly how he
TikTok
ordered it.
pick.
Well, I mean that's why I practice the algorithm method with my wife. I mean,
But I'm bummed.
And he has 3 kids that way. And
Yes.
one on
It's working really well.
So when you do the algorithm method, does she like randomly offer you like Blue Chew and stuff like right in the middle of sex?
no, it's a more of a numbers based system, and all depends on the calendar and the day.
Oh, you're a data-driven
sponsored.
bad boy. I see where you're coming from. Okay.
But once he gets going, there's a chance of the commercial right in the middle of it.
I don't know why I got a short link for you in the description here, Elaine, but it's one of these Bitly links. I would think, just a direct link there. The book is where we want to send people the Amazon page for the book, or do you have social media that I should be sending people other than this?
You know what? How about Instagram, Elaine Williams Fun? That's the best way.
I will put that.
Follow me and play with me there, and then I've got link trees and.
If you could send me an email with all the links, I'll make sure they're in the
Okay.
description moving forward, and then people
Okay,
can follow you
thank
there.
you.
Thank you for being here this morning.
You guys are fun. Thank you
Well,
so much for having me.
come back sometime. We need. I'm trying to appeal more to ladies anyway. So
I would love it.
That's
And if you need some more free guests, I've got friends.
Oh yeah, no. Well, our budget for the big money guests we spent it all on pot actually.
On pot.
So,
Okay, good.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for being here. Have a great
All right,
day.
you guys were fun. Thank you.
Bye for now.
Have a good
Bye.
one, Elaine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Elaine Williams, folks. Yeah, interesting stuff there. Funny stuff about writing a book about community and everybody like backstabbing each other for, or the woman who would put the thing together backstabbing them for.
I mean, are we shocked?
Top
No, I'm
billing.
kidding. That's terrible.
Couldn't think of top billing. Oh, look, Ron's got the main spot there. How do you like that? How do you like being in the main spot there, Ron?
I feel privileged now.
Now, yeah, white privileged, cocaine privileged, Ron Kane privileged, Novocaine
Bear
privileged,
behind him, with Cocaine Bear behind him.
lidocaine privileged. There's all sorts of cane. There's entire family. I'm going to run the commercial one more time before you get. Now, our next guest is Jake Cattell. Jake has got this weird OBS thing set up where it's all pictured and he's just like in the corner. It's a kind of a weird. You don't need that on this show. You can just if you got pictures to show, we can
He
show
doesn't
them.
face you. He faces this to the side. It's like a profile. It's like a coin.
Right? Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like talking to a coin. It's like this. Like
Right.
so. I knew. Little finger.
He's been on the show before. He has a book out called Lenny Flip and Rickles. Go Flip and Rickles yourself. And it's about the Miami comedy scene. And we're going to learn some new stuff from him today. But first, I want to replay March Madness for the people who need to know. Bet. Listen, if you don't have a gambling problem, please get one and then come back because we need you to patronize the sponsor. I'm going to be playing the fuck out of this commercial for the next 10 days, 12 days. It starts tomorrow. The tip off tomorrow night. I don't even know where.
But isn't there a deadline to have your bracket in? Because you can't start doing your bracket halfway through the tournament.
Now, did St. John's get ripped off? Because St. John's is not in it, right? They got ripped off. I think they were the best team in the country this year.
Ron is our sports expert. I don't know anything about the sport.
Tell me, Ron.
I completely forgot it was even happening. So
our sports expert forgot about March Madness. That's the kind of show I'm running here, folks. So anyway, let's play this.
The experts at MyBookie have created the ultimate NCAA March Madness betting guide to help you make the best bets throughout the tournament. Throughout this betting guide, the pros will go in depth on the best teams, players, and bets throughout the entire NCAA March Madness tournament. 2024 March Madness 85th edition of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Tournament tips off Tuesday, March 19th to Monday, April 8th, 2024. Go to mybookie.com/minddog and get up to $1,000 welcome bonus.
Ian is saying the AI voice is atrocious. Listen, you know what? You can hire a voiceover guy then. Stop complaining. You got the commercial for free. Go to MindDog TV, not MindDog, mybookie.com/MindDog to place your bets. You get up to $1,000 bonus. You know, Evil just there to complain. That's all he does. He wants to complain about everything that happens on this show. Anyway, Jake Cattell has been here before. He's here again. I'm going to try and move him into the. There he goes. Jake.
Yo.
Echo. Didn't we have this problem last time, Jake? Jake. You got echo.
Coffee.
Yeah, Jake, you got to get the echo situation straightened out.
What's up, bro? How you doing today?
Very good. How are you doing?
Excellent. Beautiful day in MIA. It was only 94 degrees yesterday.
Wow, 94. I'll take it, man. You know you don't need that OBS stuff, right? But it's fine if you have it, but you know you don't need it.
Yeah. Hey, well, I just reporting live. I'm here. I'm a specialized advertiser. I got a bunch of new books. You only heard about one of them last time, but I could let other people speak, and I could, you know what I'm saying? I could have done better than I did last time. This time.
All right. Yeah, it sounds like you got some cool studio effect on the voice, though.
Hey,
Like
we just
Listen,
dropping
this is
the
how he
404.
sounds.
That's half of the 808. We can take that
This
out.
is how he
of there.
sounds.
What's up, man?
that's just how you sound. Yeah, good. So now how's the book doing? You moving a lot of books, Lenny Flippin' Rickles?
300,000 we sold so far.
Wow, holy moly!
Yeah.
Now, were you up in New York recently?
Yeah, we took a trip up to the cellar, you know what I'm saying? I took the $60 Spirit Airlines round-trip flight, flew into Newark Liberty Airport, went there to Penn Station. I took the PATH train and the 62 bus and made it to WTC, and then we rocked it all the way up Broadway to the Comedy Cellar.
Wow. Comedy Cellar, now they do a show, a podcast out of the Comedy Cellar?
I think so. I don't know.
I think they do. I thought you were the part of reason you were coming here was to do like a podcast tour or something.
That's the idea.
That was the idea, but you didn't do it.
Well, what do you mean, bro? I'm here. I'm bringing the stories that you're not gonna find anywhere else. So it's like in the movies, in the movie Blow, when they have to go direct to the source. I go direct to the source.
All right. What kind of stories do you have? New stories about stuff that's not in the book?
Well, the last time I made the mistake of giving a little bit too much shout out to all the criminal families. We don't condone violence against anybody or anything like that.
I
You know
do.
what I'm saying?
I would like somebody to whack GD. Just for the publicity
I'm a
value in
married
it.
man. My wife does a good
Yeah,
job of
that's
whacking me.
disgusting.
Yeah. I have a
Jeez.
wife who does that.
All right.
Whack
That's
on,
GD
whack
Fenderson.
off.
Hey, who we got here today?
We got GD Fenderson, we got Steven the sitcom Ortiz, and Ron. I'm also known as Cocaine. Ron Kane and Abel.
It's biblical. You know, there's a lot of things happening in the world right now. We got to shout out against them. Hey, my people are doing a bad disservice to the world, bro. Real Jews are not supposed to bomb refugees.
Now we're going to get in some trouble here. There's a lot, people just lining up on both sides of this thing. You're talking about Israel and Palestine, whatever the whole, but my problem with this whole thing is everybody is trying to like take sides on this thing. Like war, in my opinion, war is bad, but there's no such thing as a good guy. And I know a lot will piss a lot of people off. He goes, "Oh, if America's in a war, we're always the good guys." No, I think if there's a war, you're dealing with two bad guys. It's just like in a fight. It takes two to fight. It takes two to have a war. So I don't want to take sides. I want to say everybody sucks. Get your shit together. Let's live in peace.
Now, Jake, you're in Florida, and with the stuff.
You had to tell him that.
Yeah,
he didn't know he was in Florida.
Oh, sorry. People out there, Jake is in Florida now. So, Jake, being in Florida with the stuff that's going on in Haiti, Ron DeSantis, I think, has put National Guardsmen on the southern tip of Florida to keep the Haitians out. Is that gonna work?
They've been trying since the 80s for that one, so no, that's not gonna work. But that's fucked up. That's fucked up what's happening out there. So shit, could destabilize the entire Western Hemisphere if you think about it, because there's a lot of Cubans that are still waiting to get all their lands back. So there's a lot of Haitians that are still waiting to get all their lands back.
Right.
So what if all those Cubans, all those Haitians got together? They go, boom, they knock off the Cuban government. Boom, they already got the Haitian one out of there. Now you got a whole Caribbean Silk Road Alliance.
Right. There's a movie on Netflix now about some woman who I never even heard the story. She swam from Cuba to Miami or to Key West. That's insane. Shark infested waters. I mean, the whole bit. Storms and all that stuff. I mean, it's just mind boggling to think somebody could actually do that and train for it. But so back to you and these stories about now. The stories you're telling now are not stuff that was in the book, right? It's new stuff.
Yeah, everything's new all the time. Actually, that was only one book I've done already. That's my 12th book, and I just found out just bring it back to the criminal families and stuff like that. The police actually could be good guys sometimes, and there's a Overtown Police History Museum in Miami, Florida. It's one of the coolest museums you could go to. They collect my book, A People's History of Overtown. And they give me a shout out on WPBT. And they got the courthouse. It's the first black police station in the country with the first all black police officer squad. And they were based out of Overtown. And Overtown is where Muhammad Ali trained at, or had to live at when he was training on the beach.
Wow. This is wasn't the fight with Sonny Liston in Miami?
On the beach.
Yeah.
At the Jackie Gleason Theater.
Yeah. Now Jackie Gleason had a primetime television variety show on that he did out of Miami, right?
Out of the beach. Miami Beach and Miami are two different places. They're separated by a bridge. Miami Beach is an island made like it was a little bit natural, but then they dumped a lot of sand from when they blasted out the suburbs. They drained the Everglades. They made all these canals, and they used all the fill from that reclaimed explosive, whatever you call it, fill to make the beach. And so it's a whole separate thing. So the beach and Miami are two different places.
That's weird because I've done shows at the Fontainebleau and North Beach, and they call it North Beach. There's North Beach and South Beach, but I always thought that was Miami. Now, is it like maybe I'm wrong? Is it like New York with Brooklyn? Like, yeah, it
Nah,
is.
it's not boroughs. People want to try to put it like that. It's all you New Yorkers always trying to do stuff like that. But it's more, I'm in the Long Island of Miami. It's all cops and electricians around me. It's all Peruvians and Colombians and Cubans around me. I'm in the southwest area off of Chrome Ave near the Everglades. But that's still Miami-Dade County, you see. So it's the beach is not the city of Miami, but it is Miami-Dade County. Southwest area is not the city of Miami, but it is Miami-Dade County. So I'm in the Long Island of Miami. I run all these.
Well, we're sorry about that. I mean, anybody who's in the Long Island.
Where are you from, man? Aren't you in Long Island right now?
At least you're not in the Manhattan of Kansas.
Poor Willie.
Yeah. Now, so I'm wrong in saying I've been to because I only went to.
Nah, you've been, but everybody's wrong. Yes, everything that everybody knows about it is built upon fucking bullshit that other people told them that is actually not really too accurate.
Right.
That's what I'm here to dispel the myths and the rumors and keep it real.
Well, I know for a fact that I was in Miami-Dade County.
There you go.
I mean, I know that for a fact because that's what they told me. And the guy who told me that had a pet monkey. People with pet monkeys don't lie.
Now, over on the left side of the picture on your screen there, it says Richie Minervini, Eddie Murphy, Bob Nelson, and Jim Myers. I opened the program this morning talking about a guy I met Friday night who was taking credit for giving Eddie Murphy his big break at the Richard M. Dixon's White House here in Long Island. Everybody, so many comedians who are 70 years and older tell that story about how they were the one who gave Eddie Murphy his big break.
I think he started at the comic strip.
Yeah, well, I think he was at Eastside Comedy Club before he went into Manhattan. But the question is, you've done a lot of research and stories about comedians.
I'm working on a movie with Jackie the Joke Man Martlin. Shout out to Jackie the Joke Man Martlin.
Oh yeah, shout out to him.
Island, you know what I'm saying? The Long Island got a long history with comedy.
Now this is the longest stretch we've gone in 2 years without having Jackie on the program. I gotta reach out to him today and get him scheduled again. It's been like 3 or 4 weeks now.
That guy was on the Howard Stern show when I was a little kid. I used to tune in on 94.9 Zeta WFM and all this kind of stuff like that. So I know him for all my life pretty much.
You were a little kid. I was an old man.
Oh shit!
I was already an old man by that time. But in your research, do you find that a lot of comedians tell the same story? They just change. They change the main character of the story to be themselves. Because this guy was he was telling me a story that I've heard many other comedians tell about giving Eddie Murphy his big break, and I know that it's probably more likely that the people who were established actually were those people. But this guy was like a nobody anybody ever heard of, and he's telling a story about how he gave Eddie Murphy his big break. Do you come across a lot of that in comedy writing?
Man, everybody in the world is full of shit about everything.
That's exactly what that's the point I was trying to make, but I was trying to be politically correct about it. Everybody is full of shit.
Yeah,
so
but Jackie the Joke Man, he started with Rodney Dangerfield.
That's true.
That's cool as fuck.
You're aware that Rodney and him, there was an episode of Howard where Rodney was on Howard, and they went the whole episode, and Rodney left, and then Howard said, we didn't ask him about Jackie, get him back in there. And then there was a little bit of contention about, and I don't know, I don't bet you Jackie doesn't want me telling this story, but Rodney lent Jackie a bunch of money. I don't know if it was $1,000 or $10,000, and Jackie decided instead of paying him in cash, I'm going to pay him in jokes.
That's funny.
Now, is this jokes by the pound or by the word?
I don't know. You know what? It's kind of like I don't ever want to bring that up with Jackie because I remember
you got to do it.
The episode with Stern, he was very uncomfortable about it, and then him and Rodney got into a yelling match and all that stuff.
I'd be willing to ask him. Yeah,
you do it. Like
I'll do it.
You know what? When we have Jackie on, I'll act like I'm just talking, and you can say, "Hey, Jackie, you know what? I remember listening to Howard Stern one time. Rodney Dangerfield was on, and then you can take it from there and act like we'll set him up like that."
Who's up there
Gotcha.
in the middle screen?
Yeah. When did you first meet Jackie?
No, I never met him.
Oh, what do you mean?
He answers
Just
everybody's email. I used to listen to him on the radio when he was on Howard Stern. When I was a little kid. He answers
Yeah, he
everybody's
does.
email. If you send him an email to whatever at AOL.com, I think it's Jokeland.
Jokeland
He'll
Jokeland at
respond to you,
AOL.
bro. He'll hit you up.
I thought you knew him and actually have met him.
Man, why you assuming shit? What the fuck?
Yeah. Willie, who was in town from Grants, New Mexico, and basically has been out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, was in town, and he asked me if I wanted to go hang out with Jackie tonight. And if we find some time, go hang out with Jackie. It's like, what the hell good does that do for your career? I mean, Jackie's been on this program a number, I can't count how many times, and I love him. But hanging out at his house is not going to, going to see him and just watching him sit on the couch and smoke pot and tell the same stories he's told on this show.
But if Willie can steal some of the things that Jackie has in the boxes in the back, maybe he can make some money that way.
That's possible. Yeah.
That may be why you're just there like as a distraction. He's going to ransack his place.
So the first time you sent Jackie an email, did he send you a package? Did he say ask for your address so he could send you a package of like books and memorabilia and stuff like that?
Yeah,
he does that. That's his thing. Oh, I thought
Dude, I thought cool as fuck, comedy legend, bro. Hey, shout out to all the OGs that were really there from the beginning and still doing it. You can't make it as a comedian if people don't like you. If they know your name, that means you're doing something right. That guy's been putting it on the joke world forever. He got a movie. He got his own book. We're gonna do something hopefully epic, and it should be pretty damn funny.
Now, you mean a fictional movie or a memoir? Because he has the Joke Man documentary out.
Yeah, nah. What I'm really about, even though I've been doing all this history, trying to fucking do other people's jobs for them, the best that I'm at is actually fiction. So it'll be a comedy fiction movie.
Are you a skydiver?
Yeah.
You are a skydiver, because I saw some when I was trying to find pictures of you for the promo, but it doesn't look like you because I only see the side of your face, to be honest with you.
Whatever, I'm here in the fraud capital, and so shit. You gotta have checks and balances.
How long you been skydiving for?
Do you free fall or you do that sissy one? With the person attached.
I only did it one time, but it was with somebody strapped on my back.
No, you got to do free fall. You got to have control.
What the fuck?
I think free fall is without the parachute, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, what it is, they throw the parachute out and then you dump to get it. That's how I had to do it. Free fall. I'm sorry.
That's the free fall.
I don't have respect for people who do the tandem thing. It's got to be free fall. Free fall. The other one doesn't count. It doesn't count.
Well, you can't do it until you do a tandem once, right?
No.
What do you mean no?
No, I've free fall. I've only done free fall.
It sounds like GD is against anyone that needs assistance, and I'm offended by that.
Yeah, I get
I'm not offended. I'm not offended by people who need assistance. I needed assistance. Somebody had to show me how to do it.
I think I smell ink spots here. You smell that ink spot? As far as I know, there's a national regulation on your first parachuting experience has to be tandem. Now, you're saying you did it without that. You're breaking the law. You're admitting to breaking the law here on the program?
No, I didn't break any laws. I did a training course, and so hence I didn't do that tandem shit.
All right, you go to mybookie.com right now and bet on whether GD is telling the truth. You can get up to $1,000 bonus if you sign up today.
Can I get in on that action?
No, because you know that you're not telling the truth. So it's already you're rigged.
I know I'm telling the truth.
But if you bet on GD, you get paid in jokes.
Right. Now, Ron, you know GD better than anybody. Are you sensing any I gave Eddie Murphy his big break?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
a little bit.
Ron shouldn't say. Then Ron is pulling your leg because I don't. Anybody who knows me knows I do not tell lies. I will joke and pull your leg, but I don't tell lies.
Well, that's a lie.
No,
Leave my
There has
leg
never
out of
been
this.
there has never been a human being alive that has not told a lie. And
nope,
and
never
anybody
told a lie. Not
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Ever.
right, okay.
Not one.
All
Okay,
right.
there was twice. I told her I was just going to put in the tip.
Yeah,
And,
I won't come in your mouth. Remember?
well, I never said that one. I never said that one.
All right.
As a matter of fact, what I said was try and stop me.
I will go back to what Jake said earlier. Everybody's so full of shit, or whatever he said. Everybody bullshitting all the time.
Well, but have you ever seen Eddie Murphy?
Seen him live?
Yeah.
No, I ain't never seen him live.
What about the movie? When did you?
Raw, yeah, I've seen Raw, and I know lots of people who have performed with him in clubs before he was on Saturday Night Live.
Who's that?
Most,
Shout 'em out.
yeah, people at Richie Minaveri, Jackie, Minavini, Jackie, Bob Nelson.
Those you know out them?
Wait,
how'd you get into comedy, bro? I don't know
me?
much about you. Yeah.
I'm not in comedy. I'm in music, but I know a lot of the Long Island comics. When I was a young man, I was doing the open mic stuff and trying to get into comedy. The problem was it was too expensive for me because I would have to take off a night from the band I was in, which would, if it was a bar band, that would mean like $75, to be honest with you, $100. But if it was a wedding thing, it would be up to $250, $350. Take that night off, then go to an open mic night where I'd have to bring 5 people and pay for dinner because I didn't have any friends who would not come and who would come and pay for their own dinner. I had to bribe them to come, so it would end up costing me $1,000 to do 3 minutes. And I figured out pretty quickly I should just stay in music. But I met a lot of comedians in that, and I've always been a fan of comedy, and going to comedy clubs and meet and greets and all that kind of stuff. And then interviewing people. So that's how I know a lot of comedians.
Yeah, and you done like 1,500 authors, is that right?
Yeah.
Damn, man, that's cool. So
Dang.
Yeah, let's be honest here. Some of the authors are not exactly.
Some of them are children.
Yeah,
not children books. Children.
I've two children. Well,
Okay, so
one of them, I don't think the kid was really the author. I think his mom wrote the book for him and claimed that he was the author. And the other one was definitely an author. She was 13 years old. And she had written 8 novels, and they were all mind blowing.
Wow.
Very adult novels.
Hey, Seinfeld is from Long Island too, I heard.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
Do you know people that have worked with him or anything like that?
No. A lot of you know what? There should be a comedy hall of fame for Long Island. There's a music hall of fame for Long Island, and really, the most famous one is Billy Joel. From there on, it goes. It becomes like a fishing expedition. They got Louis Armstrong in there, like he's a native Long Islander. They got anybody who ever took a shit on Long Island is in the Long Island Music Hall of Fame. But comedy.
So if I come up there, let's say in 2 or 3 weeks after Willie gets out of there, I can go to Long Island, take a shit, and get into the Long Island music.
Probably, yeah. I mean, well,
I'll even bring my acoustic guitar. That's
what do you show us there? Aretha Franklin, the Shy Lights.
Yeah, we got in the background. We got different newspaper clippings from different major events of word history and comedy and music that occurred in Long Island. And there goes Dice Clay, and also Miami, Florida. And
yeah,
we're connected by the 95. I don't know where you are located, but I think GD's in Baltimore somewhere. Yeah.
Well, Baltimore's the closest real city to where I am.
All right, so we got Florida, we got DC, Baltimore, Virginia, we got Long Island. Where's the other 2 guys at?
Ron is Harrisburg. He lives. Remember where 3 Mile Island? He actually lives in 3 Mile Island, where the reactors were melting down. and Stephen is someplace like near South Bend, Indiana. No, do I have to?
About a couple hours away, but yeah, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fort Wayne. That's right. What did I call it? Fart Wayne or something?
Fart
Wayne.
Yeah.
Fart Train, Indiana.
Indiana.
Wheezy, baby.
Yeah. Indiana, another state like Kansas is just like miles and miles of nothing while you're driving through that state.
We also have a state that we also have a city that costs people money quite often. We have Mexico, Indiana, and Paris, Indiana. And
Wow.
yeah.
So don't go on Priceline, Mexico, Indiana. That's got to be weird. Like, I got a hotel in Mexico. Yeah, what city? Mexico.
Maine has a Mexico, Maine, and Maine has a number of towns that are named after countries like that.
Yeah, I think every state has a Paris in it. Paris, Texas, Paris, New York, Paris, Indiana.
We have a Paris and a New Paris.
And Rome. There's also Rome in almost every state, it seems.
We have a Rome, Indiana also, yeah.
Now, Jake, you mentioned Rodney Dangerfield. He's from Long Island. He is Babylon, yeah. Well, actually, there's some argument about that, whether it's Deer Park or Babylon, where his actual house was. Jack Roy was his name growing up.
No, Jacob Cohen was his name growing up. Jack Roy is the name he changed his name to for the first time to be on stage.
Thanks for that information. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's rough out here for the Jacobs of the world, but I might have to change my name too.
But he's responsible for so many people. Robert Klein, Andrew Dice Clay, Jackie, as we talk. I mean, so many people that he's given their first big break to. Lenny Clark. I mean, you can go down the list of all the people that Rodney is really instrumental in.
Funny motherfucker.
Right, yeah.
Hey, and before Shane Gillis, he was the first guy to do a light beer commercial as a comedian, Miller Lite.
Right, yeah.
Tastes great, less filling. And that was filmed on Key Biscayne, and it's in the book, Lenny Flippin' Rickles.
You remember those commercials? You probably
motherfucker, I'm 42, goddammit.
Well, those commercials, I mean, they feel like 40 years ago to me. I mean, that was a long time ago, those Miller Lite commercials. But they had everybody in it. It wasn't just Rodney. It was everybody.
Sports guys, yeah.
Yeah. Big time.
Who's who?
Yeah.
The manliest motherfuckers. Because they were trying to say that light beer was sissy drinks.
Right.
Well, it wasn't the manly ones in the beginning, because it was like Bob Uecker in the beginning, wasn't
Bob
it?
Uecker. Yeah, Bob Uecker was in the ones with Rodney, the same commercials.
Yeah, that's not manly. That's because Uecker was like known for barely making onto the lineup.
Yeah, but he was a man's man guy. You know the stuff Norm would tell about Uecker when Norm was in the booth with Uecker, and he's like, "That's John Fogerty down there." He goes, "You want to meet him? I'll get him up here." He said, "Yeah, no, I don't bring him up here." He said, "What's the matter? Don't you like the guy?" He's like, "He bites heads off of chickens and shit." According to Uecker, everybody was like Ozzy Osbourne or something. If you were in rock and roll, yeah, he does all that fucking shit. But Uecker, off the cuff, like not on the air, was really a man's man in a very weird way. There was a picture that he showed on Johnny Carson one time. A team photo that got banned because him and Bob Gibson were acting all gay in the holding hands or something in the team photo or something like that. But what are we looking at there?
That's the guy that invented disco music. I did a book with him too. He's called Henry Stone. He's from the Bronx.
Oh, Payola. Now, did you dig deep into that? Because that's...
Yeah, I mean, I did a whole book with him while he was still alive. The last year of his life, I interviewed him like every week for all of 2013. Got 80 hours of audio, and we did 2 books so far. He did TK Records, Cat Records. It helped invent hip-hop nucleus. He had all those acts later, but he had started out with Ray Charles.
Very weird, this whole... Because back in the day, DJs would go to jail. And radio station managers would go to jail over what was called payola. But now it's like common practice. People will send you emails, pay me, and I'll get you money. I'll get your music played for you. For people who are not familiar with payola, tell people what that was all about.
Payola was like back in the day when it was all shitty music, and then the funk came through, the R&B. With the roots of rock and roll, and the only ways to get that into the wide world of hearing, listening public was to pay the DJs. So there'd be some distributor. The thing goes from the manufacturer to the distributor. The distributor would get it on the radio. The radio would play it for money, and that's how white people got to hear black music around the world because the radio signal was so powerful at a place like WLAC in Nashville was a clear channel, a wide broadcast power signal. So if you could pay that DJ in that one little place all by himself in the late at night, whatever it was, like B.B. King started out doing that, but that was on the DJ side. So somebody would come through his, hey, play this record, man, I give you 100, and you get your dick sucked in the back by this horse, by your steak dinner.
So Jacob, how did the money get back to the black artists? Because I know the black artists got paid for all this stuff. So how did the money get back to the black artists? They weren't exploited or anything, right?
Yeah, no, most definitely. Of course they were. It's one of the most. That's the only business. The music business is dirty. And it's
wait a minute. Is anybody exposing this that black people didn't get paid for their music? Is this being exposed?
It's not that everybody didn't get paid. The main thing about it is the structure of it. The power in the music business is if you write the music or if you publish it. If you're not the songwriter and if they don't list you as a songwriter and if you don't have a BMI account or an ASCAP account, you're not getting no paper for it. If all you're doing is singing the music that somebody else wrote, you're not getting no paper for it. Unless you do live shows. That's how black people got money, was doing live performances. But guys like Sam Cooke, who had his own publishing company with Mr. Alexander, and he was about to really, truly exploit that at the highest levels because he did cross over to pop. He was his own songwriter and he was his own publisher, so he was going to make that money. The guy that wrote the big hit record for Sophie Tucker, who was one of the first comedians in America, he got paper for his work because he was a songwriter for the song. What was her major thing? It was called Some of These Days, Sophie Tucker. That was written by a black guy. So by her making a hit out of it, she didn't get the money for those sales. That went to him. And she got the money for the live shows, so she would be out there dripping pearls, big hair, all looking fresh. That's Sophie Tucker, originator.
Now, GD's only upset about the black people that didn't get paid. There were plenty of white people who didn't get paid as well. And brown people didn't get paid. And yellow people didn't get paid.
You're making that up to make me feel bad. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I do want to make you feel bad, but that's not why I'm saying that. I mean, I'll do anything to make you feel bad.
I got a good one about there's a big song called George McRae. It's called Rock Your Baby. For his second disco song ever, but when it was before that name was invented, it was just pure R&B. George McRae, Rock Your Baby. Henry Stone paid the session guitarist $15 for that, and it sold 27 million. So that's a black guy that got ripped off.
That's $15 worth. 27 million is about $15 worth. Now I'm noticing in that screen you got going behind you there that you have some advertisements for the East Side Comedy Club. Rob Bartlett, by the way, another name that worked with Eddie Murphy and all that stuff. Where did you find old Where'd you get these images from?
You got to go to the archives. I got like 5 or 10 different archives that I study, and you could find anything that you want in there.
Now this is, you got Miami stuff and you got Jackie Martling, Long adult. I'm trying to read some of those, but you got Miami stuff and you got Long Island stuff, and New York stuff.
Connected. It's about
got
95.
Yeah, none of so no LA stuff, because we were talking this morning about the founding of the Comedy Store, which used to be Ciro's. Any LA stuff in there, in that memorabilia stuff you got going on back there?
Nah, but in the book you'll find it in Lenny Flippin' Rickles. There's a part all about Sammy Shore, who's the founder with Mitzi Shore.
Sammy Shore, right?
And that's how they give Richard Pryor his start.
Right.
They give him his start because they did black comedy in L.A.
Now I wonder if there's as many of those fishtails about Richard Pryor's start as there were about Eddie Murphy's start.
He's from Chicago or something? No, he's from Indiana, isn't he?
Peoria, wasn't it Peoria?
Peoria, Illinois.
Peoria, Illinois.
Cool.
I don't know. Yeah, but now Richard Pryor served in the military, didn't he? Or am I wrong about that?
Yeah, he was in the army, but they tried to make him be the plumber, so he got himself an honorable discharge. He didn't want to pick up everybody's shit.
I'm gonna have to do a mini bio on Richard Pryor.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, a mini one. So Jackie, your friend Jackie, has got his Q&A coming up next week. I think it's next week. Screening the his film Joke Man, and then a Q&A after that, where he tells all these stories about these guys. I noticed Rob Bartlett was in there in your little thing in the background there too.
Big thing.
Yeah.
Or average size, medium size. My
Yeah.
medium size thing.
Yeah. Have you met any of these guys? Have you talked to any of these people that you write about? Like Bartlett's been on this program. You could probably have a conversation with him. Have you had conversations with any of these people?
Nah, you know what? I didn't even find out about all this Long Island comedy history until about like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I found out Eddie Murphy is from there. Jerry Seinfeld is from there. Rodney Dangerfield is from there.
Kevin James, Ray Romano, Larry Miller. Yeah.
Damn, that's big names. What is it about that? What is it about that area that made people?
A lot of mental illness. A lot of mental illness. There's a lot of people here. But 7 million people on Long Island. It could be a state.
7 million people on Long Island?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It could be. It's way bigger than like New Mexico is. I think at less than 1 million people, or just around 1 million people, and it's like it could fit like 7 or 8 Long Islands in the state. South Dakota, all those kind of states are huge area-wise, but not so much population-wise. New York, Long Island could be and every once in a while we have this movement to say make Long Island a state. Time to say goodbye to Governor's Comedy Club. Speaking of Long Island, Governors, I don't know what's happening in Govs tonight. Maybe one of the places has an open mic for Willie to kind of get some stage time.
Or sleep.
Huh?
Or sleep.
Or sleep.